Hey, it's Des back with another video. So on this one, I just want to talk about some of the comments that came out post the North London derby. Comments such as stuff like they were saying stuff like, "Oh, Tottenham were unlucky because they could have exploited Arsenal because there was a lot of space in behind." So let's talk about that the whole space in behind thing to begin with. Just because there's space in behind us doesn't mean you can exploit it. So we play a high line. We've got Saliba and Gabriel who play on the touchline, and then you got the fullbacks as well. But just because there's space there doesn't mean you can attack and you can exploit it. Yes, they had the opportunity where they attacked it, creating a penalty. But that doesn't mean that just because there's space there that is a weakness. No, we play at Highland for a reason. We're compact for a reason. We press high for a reason. We don't just have the high line just for the sake of it. Our high line is there, but but if you look at the spaces between our defenders and our midfielders and our midfielders and our attackers, the space is really small and we press high. So the whole point of the high line is to ensure that we're compressing the opposition and pinning them there. And when we're pressing, they don't have enough spaces between our lines to build anything. So if you think about it like this, if you think about the kind of space that's here like this, it's like if the space between these two, think about this as our forward line and our midfield line. If the space here is massive, then yeah, you can have the ball, you can do your 1-2s and then play a long ball to attack us behind. But the space in our midfield is really congested, it's small. So just because we're playing a higher line, you don't have enough time and space in between our lines to build anything important to attack us. That's the whole point of it. That's why we're pushing up high and we're pressing the team and we're compressing the opposition, because we don't want to leave any spaces between us. So because when teams have enough time and space on the ball, they're gonna create something good. But if they have less time and space on the ball, they can't really create anything meaningful. So they didn't even. So the space was there, and I know people watching the space and thinking, "Oh, if we just play the pass over the top, we can exploit them." No, if you can play the pass over the top, but the reason why you didn't play the pass over the top, or they didn't play the pass over the top, is because our press was good, our space was congested, and we didn't allow them time and space on the ball to create anything meaningful. Let's look at other comments that were made as well. They were talking about if Arsenal hadn't scored the goal from 25 yards out, with the space between that their midfield left. Okay, let's look at that. Why did we score from 25 yards? I mentioned in my Saka video, I said already, the reason why Partey had so much time on the ball to be able to shoot like that is because Saka throws Perisic and Son, and whilst he did that, because of his threat and the fear factor that he brings into the opposition's defenders, they have to focus on him because they know that once he beats either the fullback and the winger on that side, that player is going to have to be passed on to them. So Saka's responsibility is going to have to be passed on to them. So they're focused to ensure that they don't give him an inch or a second because if they give him that inch or a second, he beats them. So therefore, they'll focus on him. So the player that should have been focused on Partey was focused on Saka looking. That's the reason why Partey has so much time. If you go back and look at a still frame of Partey's goal right before he hits the ball, he had so much space in front of the back line because they were focused on Saka. That's why he had a space. So that space was there. It wasn't there just for the sake of it. It was there because we have a player called Bukayo Saka who is able to freeze the opposition and create time and space for his teammates. Let's look at more comments. They said, but for a few bad choices on the break, they might have gotten more than one goal. As I mentioned previously in the other comment, the reason why you were making mistakes or you're making bad choices or decision making is because we didn't give you enough time and space on the ball between our lines. So if you give the opposition a lot of space, a lot of time on the ball, they're gonna have time to pick their head up and look for passes. But when you're constantly pressuring them and they don't have enough space and they feel like they're congested, they've got the forward behind them and the midfielder in front of them, or they have the midfielders behind them, the defenders in front of them, they're gonna have to do something quickly. So unless you have a very like a top class or an elite player who thinks quickly and makes great decisions on the spot, which is hard to do when there's no time and no space, you're not gonna get the best choices. You're not gonna get the best decision making. So this is all by design. This is our press. This is the reason why we're compact. This is the reason why we're pressing. This is the reason why we play a high line. So the bad choices that Tottenham made wasn't for no reason. They made bad choices because we gave them no time on the ball, no space on the ball, and we continued to press them, and our midfield line was congested. That's why they made bad choices. It wasn't just because. We could play that game multiple times. You might get lucky to do that, but with our style of play is made to make teams make bad choices because we don't give you time to think on the ball. So let's look at another comment. If the first goal doesn't go in, they get the penalty and they defend it out. It's a defensive masterclass. Okay, I said before, Tottenham defended well. Even if we didn't win or we didn't lose, Tottenham defended well. There was nothing wrong with how they defended. Tottenham's issue wasn't the fact that they didn't defend well. They defended really well. Their issue was the fact that they were faced by a team who had 3 attackers up front who were stretching the pitch, constantly running at them, dribbling, creating chances, disorganizing their shape, and at the same time, they had midfielders behind them, the likes of Partey, the likes of Granit Xhaka, the likes of our back 4, who were moving into midfield and constantly recycling the ball over and over and over and over again. So you have the likes of Zinchenko, Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, Partey, constantly recycling the ball into the final third. They win the press, they win the second ball, recycle again, over and over and over again. Yes, you're defending deep, but if we just keep on recycling the ball over and over and over again, you're just going to keep on facing us over and over and over again. And you have Granit Xhaka attacking the spaces in behind, making runs into the final third. You have Martinelli constantly running at the players, 1v1 dribbling, disorganizing the shape, making runs in behind. They have to keep on breaking their lines. They have to keep on breaking their shape because of what he's doing, because he's rotating with Jesus, who's going to the left-hand side as well. And you've got Jesus, who's constantly making runs to the left-hand side, dropping deep to receive, attacking the space in behind. You got Saka, as I mentioned already, breaking their shape, freezing opposition, creating space and time for others, and still having a vision and the execution to create chances for his teammates and take shots. So that's the reason why we're able to break them. It's not because Tottenham, when defending well, even if they score their first goal and they defend it for their lives, we were still going to do what we were going to do, because that's what we do in every single game because of these players that we have. So it wasn't Tottenham's fault. It was the fact that they had a team that was ready to break down opposition. So the opposition might feel like the best thing to do against Arsenal is to sit deep. No, the best thing to do against Arsenal is actually to come out and play against us. If you sit deep, we're made to play against teams that sit deep. When you come at us and play against us, I feel like that's where we might actually struggle, when we play against teams who are going to come to us and actually play football with us. That's when we might find some difficulty. But if you're going to sit deep in your own half and then talk about luck, forget about that. We're built to break down teams that sit deep. And then we talk about Arsenal in the they said something about Arsenal in the final thirds were making sideways passes. We made sideways passes because that's what you do to move teams around. Yes, you play the ball to the side, to the other side. You have to keep on moving the ball around. The goal for Partey came from passes from the left-hand side, that we continue to play the ball, we passed it. The ball went from the left-hand side to the middle, to the right side, back to the middle, and Partey scored. That's what you do. You have to keep on moving teams about. You have to keep them on their toes, because you're organised and you're sat deep. But what we have to do is keep on moving you around, and also dribbling you and probing you until the space is created. And once the space is created, then we can occupy it and we can exploit it. So again, yeah, I've seen some dumb comments about how we played against Tottenham and all of that, but just wanted to give some answers to some of those stupid comments. But anyways, it's theirs. See you in the next video.